the market was down 100 points. I'm not sure that that was the real issue here. For me, the Q&A, once again, I get the feeling that Janet Yellen is just totally disconnected from the real economy, from real-life people.
I think the entire Federal Reserve System is disconnected from reality. I like all of the pushback that the Fed is getting from political quarters. The Fed is political, but not in the sense I think that Donald Trump speaks of. The Fed is political in the sense that they're there to save their own skin and to save the constituents, that their constituents are the big banks that they serve, who are the shareholders of the Federal Reserve, which is a private institution. So I think the politicization of the Federal Reserve is from day one.
Right.
And it serves themselves, and I don't think it's good for the economy. I don't think it's good for this country. It's time that politicians, and I hope Donald Trump pushes back.
A good read on that is the Preacher from Jekyll Island. It's a big book, but if you got a long weekend, it's worth the read. Eric, I mean, what do you make of it? Again, the consensus was that the Fed would raise today. That wasn't a surprise, but they would signal 2 rate hikes for 2017. They said it's 3.
Right.
Last December, they signaled 4 rate hikes. Wall Street didn't like what they heard, and we started off one of the worst beginnings of a new year in the history of the stock market.
Right. Look, they had to do something. I mean, obviously, there was an expectation built in. Who knows what's really going to happen? Because I think they're waiting to see how the administration is going to play this. And it could be that Trump sends a message. The question is, does Yellen want to stay? Because if she wants to stay, she's going to need to play ball, and they want to keep rates down.
Well, sure. But here's the thing. She was asked about, to your point, about the administration and the policy. So one of her answers was, FOMC participants acknowledge considerable uncertainty on how economic policies may change. What the hell is she talking about? You didn't hear the campaign? You didn't hear the president-elect say he's going to lower taxes, get rid of regulations? I mean, what's so uncertain about that?
I think what they're talking about is Congress. And now you saw this with the Senate. The Senate said, well, we're not sure we want to do all these tax cuts. Certainly the leader of the Senate said that because we want to make sure that revenues are neutral. Then they talked about other aspects with respect to trade. So I think it's not about Trump. It's really about how Congress is going to deal with this. And I believe Congress is going to play ball, but I think they're a little skeptical, perhaps.
I think they're going to play ball, too. But the politicalization of the Fed, the politicalization of all of these powerful entities within our government, some of them not even sanctioned, you know, who knows who the hell created the Fed, right, really? But it's all particularly under Obama. We've seen it, and we've seen the damage it can do.
Well, and we've seen especially even law enforcement agencies, which are supposed to really be independent, being used against his opponents. I don't think that there is one agency that isn't now political. If you've politicized the FBI, the DOJ, and all of that, and the IRS, the American people recognize that things that are supposed to be independent and you're supposed to be able to trust as separate from the executive branch, you feel you can't. And your argument about what is this woman talking about, when you've had to do things that don't make any sense because they're done for political reasons, you begin to sound like Charlie Brown's teacher. You're not going to make much sense. But I would disagree with Mr. Trump in that, and I think he speaks in large terms, that no, Mr. Obama is not calling Janet Yellen. But just like with the IRS, you see it's implied. You see where the president is going. You know what he wants to do. You know it's important for an economy, even if you especially have to artificially hold it down and construct it so that he looks good, or what they think is Hillary as the incoming person looks good. And now she can do it because what do we have? 36 days before Trump takes over, and any negative impact suddenly can swoop in on him. That they're not beyond that, and it's all political. They're appointed by the president. All the governors now are there because of him. She has her job because of him. These are political appointments, and if people know it.
But she's saying that, you know, I'm going to keep my job because of Congress. But when asked today about, you know, okay, let's say 2 years go by, do you still want to stay in the position? I think she would want to. So that gets back to her somehow coming to some sort of a moment where she realizes I need to be on the same page with the president-elect.
I don't think she has a chance of staying on if she wants to. I don't think that Donald Trump would ask her to stay on. I think given the comments he's made during the campaign, he's going to look for somebody else that's going to be more aligned with his policies.
Could we kill the Fed? Could we get rid of the Fed?
Absolutely we can. You know, the Taylor rule is one of the things that can just kill the Fed. We can computerize all of the data that the Fed puts into its you know, pool and its dot plots. We can simply computerize that, come up with something like the Taylor rule, which basically says mathematically we add or we subtract from the monetary supply.
This money printing that always goes to bail out banks, and when people, the average person still has trouble getting a loan to buy a house or start a small business.
Yes.
should we scrap that completely, knowing the rest of the world has central banks? We should.
Yeah, it has nothing to...
You agree with that, Eric?
No. I mean, come on. We were 2008, 2009. If they weren't there, if the central banks weren't there, this would have blown up. I mean, come on.
What's wrong with the central banks? What would have been wrong with those big banks blowing up like any business, and other banks, the other thousands of banks that weren't irresponsible because they didn't have the implied guarantee of our money?
Because the economy would have been, we would have had a worldwide depression had they not stepped in.
If the Federal Reserve and other central banks hadn't manipulated rates low to the point where we had these bubbles, we wouldn't have had the problem that required the banks to be bailed out.
All I know is that, and I think it was 1913 or something, when they gave us the Federal Reserve, they promised it would be the end of the boom and bust cycles, and that's all we've gotten since then, boom and bust.